Elon Musk's popularity is certainly lagging Donald Trump's. Donald Trump still has tremendous support within the Republican Party, despite the fact that the cost of living isn't going down, high prices, and the pushback around tariffs. And I have predicted this for a long time. Elon Musk is not going to have a long time in the Trump administration. Mark my words on this, because he will end up being a drag on Donald Trump's approval. And right now we're in this place where there's a lot of fear over Doge cuts. What is being cut? Is it just waste, fraud, and abuse, or is it actual services people rely on? And come a couple months from now, if suddenly people aren't getting services they expect, or Social Security checks are delayed, or you're having to line up physically at an office, that's going to come home to roost, and Elon's going to take the fall.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
I like this lady. I like the way she's talking. She's talking about Elon Musk and Social Security. Now you're getting in my territory. Now, I can't cuss on this show, but you start taking my money, you're going to hear, not only me, the Republicans going to be cussing. You cannot take our money back. You know, we work for this money. We put this money in the bank for us, for our social living right now. And that's very important to us. Don't touch our Social Security money. And I think the Republicans are going to...
Yeah, that and the veterans, right?
The veterans.
Those are the two issues where they've been pretty callous with the cuts and then have tried to claim that they're not doing what they're doing. The other interesting thing, I mean, Trump today, they're all focusing on the vandalism, which is abhorrent, right? Like, people should not be burning cars of any kind. Now the Trump administration is taking this personally. I mean, listen to Donald Trump in the Oval Office saying, essentially, that this is worse. This is the worst thing that he's heard of since January 6th.
When I looked at those showrooms burning and those cars, not one or two, like 7, 8, 10 burning, exploding all over the place, these are terrorists. You didn't have that on January 6th.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing.
January 6th?
Look, so what better way to start the morning than Saturday morning than with George over here? What better way to start it? But to your point, though, so I am one of those. Everybody needs to be able to denounce these type of attacks on Tesla dealerships, the harassment that people who own Teslas, like all of that stuff, it should be condemned. There shouldn't be any wiggle room about that. I am less concerned, though, about Tesla stocks. You know, that's just me. And I know a lot of people are more concerned about that. I'm not.
Including the Commerce Secretary.
Including the Commerce Secretary. But I think that, of course, this is Donald Trump's guy. So now everybody, many Republicans and conservatives who weren't exactly EV friendly are now EV friendly.
Yeah.
But I did want to say, to just piggyback off of what Alyssa was saying, is that, and I've also said that Elon Musk would be a problem, not just for Donald Trump, though, but for the Republican Party. And I think that we're seeing this now. And this isn't the first set of polls that have shown that Elon Musk's popularity is going down. But I was looking at, Fox News did a poll today of the top 5 administration proposals. None of them are about efficiency when it comes to Doge.
Yeah.
So even with Fox News.
And in that same Fox poll this week, they asked, how concerned are you that not enough thought and planning has gone into government spending cuts? 65% say they are concerned. Americans don't want bloated government. They actually don't mind cuts. But they don't think that these are being done in a way that is coherent and rational.
This could have been the biggest win for the Trump administration because nobody likes the size of government and government inefficiency. But, Donald Trump's great gift is empathy. He is able to somehow tap in emotionally to his supporters. And Elon Musk has said that empathy is a bug in civilization, and we shouldn't have it. I mean, this is the least empathetic, compassionate, he's not quite a public official, but public person who's been in government that I can remember. And, since I don't support a lot of the policies that he's actually pushing forward, I'm delighted. This is exactly the wrong face of government reform.
And can I just say, just quickly, just because Alyssa, you talked about he won't be around long, I just want to remind everybody, as a special government employee, he has 130 days to serve within a calendar year. I've said many times before, I think that after the 130 days, Elon Musk will be gone.
It is a convenient out.
He's a nut. If his mother doesn't get it, he's crazy. Let him call my mother. She don't get her.
What do you think is the consequence? I mean, so many Americans rely on Social Security just to get by. What's the consequence of even suggesting that the way to get them to stop fraud, the way to stop fraudsters is to just stop all the checks and see who complains about it?
This whole thing is stupid. Somebody's been getting a check for 300 years. But who's a stupid person here? Stop sending them the check.
And so this is why Donald Trump is a very unique politician. Now, I heard Lutnick. Now, in Lutnick's case, Lutnick is able to send his mother money to make up for her not missing a Social Security check. Many other people, and I would argue most other people are not. You may not like Donald Trump, but Donald Trump flew around on a plane with his name on the side of the plane, but that is not something that you would ever hear Donald Trump say. Donald Trump was the billionaire that people, even in his billionaire status, he could relate to people. He empathized with people on their level. And so he has people around him like Lutnick and what you said with the Social Security office. That's not something that even Republicans.
I got to be honest. I don't know what that's got to do with my mother, my father, my grandmother, Social Security money, and this man talking about they won't miss the check.
Well, I'm telling you about Donald. I'm telling you about. Well, you interrupted me, so I'm telling you about Donald Trump and what makes him unique, as opposed to some of these people around him. It's not something that Lutnick should have even said.
He hired Lutnick.
He did. He did.
But
He clearly thought that Lutnick was good.
My broader point I was going to make was this. I think it's easy for us to fall into the trap to think that this is him putting his foot in his mouth, making a mistake. I actually think it's part of a pretty consistent campaign by Trump, by Elon Musk, by Lutnick to start to condition the public to think that Social Security isn't essential. Donald Trump, in his address to Congress, talking about the 350-year-old man. Howard Lutnick with these comments today. Elon Musk calling it a Ponzi scheme. They are trying to attack this thing that we know is the third rail in politics.
Well,
and
the
they think they're going to
Republican
move
Party
over
has
to win
not-
Lutnick.
the Republican Party has
It seems
not
like
done
the
that.
White House, based on how they responded to the acting administrator at the Social Security office, they were like, stop talking about this. They understand that this is not a good line of
Trump
conversation.
is the White House and dictates all policy at the White House at the end of the day. And, the spirit of what he's saying is correct. He's basically saying that people know they are going to get their government checks. They can rely on that. That's the spirit of what he is saying.
That's really not the spirit of what he was saying. What he was saying was that the only way to know when people are fraudsters is when they complain if they haven't gotten
and
their
both
checks.
Democrats and Republicans can agree that there's waste, fraud, and abuse within our Social Security
But this isn't
administration.
something that Donald Trump
that is a
did
fact.
in the first administration and even in the Republican Party. Think of how Republicans just over the years have always fought back on the notion that they want to cut Social Security, they want to cut Medicare. Donald Trump has not saying it. I don't believe there's any type of effort among Donald Trump. Now, there may be people like Elon Musk and other people around Donald Trump who have these sentiments, but Donald Trump has the standard Republican conservative position when it comes to Social Security. Maybe so, but his position as the president of the United States.
Lutnick is one of 11 billionaires. So your whole he relates to the people. Give me a break. One of 11 billionaires.
No, I'm talking about Donald Trump.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm talking about Donald Trump.
I know.
Well, you can't
Donald
speak
Trump
for the
hired
11 other people.
He's also
Well, what does that mean? We're talking about Donald Trump.
He hired 11 billionaires. 90% of Americans over 65 rely on Social Security. Now, just ask George W. Bush how it worked out when he tried to privatize Social Security.
But they're not doing it, though.
However,
they're not doing
but this is also part of the way he does it. They're not going to do it in the legislation.
But when have Republicans talked about it? When have Republicans talked about it? It's not a thing that Republicans are doing. It's just not true.
Last comment.
Malik, I want to let Karen finish so that we can allow George in because he is chomping at the bit.
Yes.
Go ahead.
But the other thing to remember, the reason we were having this conversation, the reason he was on that podcast is because DOGE, Musk's program, is about to hit the Social Security Administration. They've already talked about making 12% cuts in an administration that already is underfunded and understaffed. It already takes people longer than it should to get their Social Security checks. And people, it's not just, by the way, that someone like, you're welcome, that George or somebody's mother-in-law or mother. It's the people like us, people like me who worry about my mother and my uncle or family members who rely on Social Security. What they're not understanding is that the burden isn't just on the individuals who are relying on Social Security. It's those of us who are in this generation where we're also caring for our older relatives.
You think I can talk now? Everybody's been talking about me. I want to interrupt somebody. I'm on the Comedy News Network. This is the Comedy News Network. This is my last time because what I'm getting ready to say, you're probably going to throw me off. See, that's the problem with the world. The problem with America. We got too many rich, old, white men in Congress. All of those people you were talking about are what? Millionaires. You know, his mother, billionaires, his mama ain't gonna miss money. She don't need to miss money. She got money.
Well, many
The
people
fact that-
fought and died
the
in
fact
this
that-
country for us to live the American dream, and so we can have millionaires and billionaires in this country for all of us.
Well, millionaires
sitting at
serve-
this
but it didn't
table.
happen.
Very wealthy people have served in Republican and Democrat
Yes.
administrations.
Of course.
It doesn't mean because they're wealthy that somehow they don't have a connection or they're not concerned about
Yes, it
certain
does.
things.
Yes, it does.
But when
However,
it comes to
there's stuff
Donald
like
Trump
that.
and
Yes,
what
it
the
does.
Republican
Yes, it does.
Party has advocated for,
Yes,
the
it does.
Republican Party has said over and over again, no cuts to Social Security, no cuts to Medicare.
they're gonna do
What
Well,
Biden
they just-
said
Hang on,
may
let me,
be
okay, so let me just interject here because a couple things. One of the reasons this is on the table is because Elon Musk continues to put it on the table.
Yes.
He
He
is
did.
using huge numbers to describe waste, fraud, and abuse at Social Security that's not backed up by any data. And this is how it's being received at some of the town halls. This is Chuck Grassley's district in Iowa.
We're now seeing that we don't want people to call on the phone to change their direct deposit. Go to a local office. Try to get an appointment at a local office. Right now, you're waiting a month, and we're going to cut more staff. This is not right. If any, and we do not want to see Social Security privatized.
The cuts to the Social Security offices, that's already happening. We were just talking to Congressman Lawler about an office that was closed in New York and is listed on the Doge website as a saving. So when you see that, how do you think that's going to play politically?
I just think this is true all the way around. Don't mess with the older people that need this money coming in every month. That's the bottom line. Leave these people alone.